Over the years, I've learned that when I've been stressed or unhappy in life, it's usually because there are some unhealthy habits that I've gotten into. And that if I want to reduce my stress and feel happier, then I'm the one that has to make changes. So in this video, I'm going to go through 6 unhealthy habits that I've quit to help me reduce stress and feel happier in life. And just remember that these are habits that I've quit that are personal to me. So don't feel you have to quit these if you want to reduce stress or feel happier. I'm just sharing what's worked for me. Habit number 1 that I quit was drinking alcohol. So the last time I had alcohol was 2019. So it's been nearly 5 years at this point. Throughout my 20s, I did the social scene through working in London, where there was a big drinking culture. We'd all go out after work and socialise, and it was a lot of fun. However, over the years, I realised that alcohol didn't make me feel good. It made me feel more anxious the next day when I was hungover. It didn't do my digestive system any good, but it was really difficult because certainly in the UK anyway, drinking is a very social activity. It's very much part of the culture. And it was very hard when I first stopped drinking to be around people who were drinking because I felt so left out. And I think in turn, some of them felt pretty uncomfortable as well. However, over time, I got used to it and it didn't bother me about being around people who were drinking anymore. I realized that I wasn't missing out on the next day through being too hungover. I was able to go out and do the things I wanted to do rather than laying on the sofa feeling sorry for myself. My anxiety and stress levels reduced as well. I have no regrets about quitting alcohol because I feel so much better for it. So habit number 2 I quit was being around people with a negative mindset. So I would notice that my energy levels were affected when I was around people who were really negative. Now, I'm not saying this to apply to people who are going through a difficult time and they're struggling. I find it really important that I'm able to be there for people if they need me just to talk to. But what I mean is being around people who are negative all of the time, perhaps about a situation in their life, and they're not doing anything to change it. And no matter how much encouragement or advice or suggestions, they stay stuck within that cycle. And I'm not saying that that is necessarily a conscious decision on their part, although it might be, but it gets really draining when you're trying to help somebody, you're trying to help them see that there are things that they can do to help improve their situation, and they're just not doing anything about it, and they continue to complain. We can give them our advice, we can give them our support, but ultimately it's up to them to make changes. And I think if there are people in your life who are draining your energy, then maybe it's time to think about that relationship. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to stop seeing those people altogether, but maybe you need to have some time away from them for a bit to give yourself a break, because it can get really draining. But also you might decide that you want to end that relationship because it's become so negative that it's affecting your own mental health. Habit number 3 I quit is consuming media that doesn't add anything to my life. And this is one I have to keep a constant review of because I can easily slip back into the social media black hole or the online news sites. I found that when I consume too much social media or online news content, I become more anxious. I start to worry about things that I'm not in control of, and not necessarily just things going on out there in the world, but things in my own life that I can't control. And generally it's the negative news stories that are put out there online because they catch people's attention and they get more clicks. So of course those are the things that we're going to be more exposed to. And I found that when I do step away from social media or online news sites, my mental health improves really quickly. I stop worrying about those things. I start focusing much more on where I am right now and what I'm in control over, and I feel much happier. And as I've been talking, are there any unhealthy habits that you've been able to quit that have helped you to reduce stress or feel happier in life? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear about your experience. So habit number 4 that I quit was spending money that's not in my budget. And this has taken a good few years to learn. In my 20s, I was not good at managing my money. I would spend a lot of money on things I didn't need. I'd end up using credit cards to make up for the fact that I didn't have any more money left in my bank account until payday. It was very rare that my wage would last a whole month. But after far too many years of making this mistake, I finally put down my budget in a spreadsheet to figure out what spare money I would have at the end of the month. And it was really shocking because I realized that I needed to stop spending money on all sorts of things if I wanted to get out of debt, so that I could put the spare cash back onto my credit card to clear this debt. It was a bit of a harsh reality check because I realized that I was keeping myself in this situation. But I do think when it comes to budgeting, when you get it down there in black and white and you can see it, there's no getting away from it, you can't avoid it, and it gives you a much clearer idea of what you need to do in order to help yourself get more control of your budget and see where you can make savings so that you can put some away perhaps for an emergency fund or start clearing clearing off your existing debt. Habit number 5 that I quit is talking negatively to myself. For many years, I have struggled with the belief that I'm not good enough. And this has affected me in different ways. So in some ways, it's led me not to do things because I thought that I couldn't do them, or that I'd make a fool out of myself, or I'd fail. In other ways, I've strived to do lots of things, to work really hard as a way of overcompensating and trying to prove to myself that I am in fact good enough. And some time ago, I attended a training course where the trainer said that our minds can't tell the difference between when we talk negatively to ourselves versus when somebody else talks negatively to us. So essentially, when we talk negatively to ourselves, it might as well be that we've got someone standing there doing it to us. And if you imagine someone stood there day in, day out telling you how bad you are or what a failure you are, of course that would wear you down mentally. So it's going to be no different when you talk to yourself that way. One of the things I learned was to bring more awareness to when that negative or critical voice started coming up for me and when it started talking to me. Because often we don't realize when that negative voice is doing that. It's such a part of us. We kind of accept it without really realizing that that's what's happening. I'm not saying that my belief of not being good enough has gone away entirely, because there are times where it does pop up now and again. But these days I'm more able to spot it more quickly, and I can manage them better so that they don't take me into a spiral of negative thinking. Habit number 6 that I quit was not expressing how I feel. There are a select few people that I talk to, but they need to be people that I feel I've got a good connection with and that I trust. Aside from that, one of the main ways that I express myself is through journaling. I've been a journaler on and off for many years, but in early 2023, I decided that I wanted to journal consistently. And I don't know what happened, something must have just clicked, because ever since that time, I've journaled every day. Sometimes I might journal just about things that have happened in the day, but also there are things that are on my mind and I just want to get them down on paper. And ever since I started journaling, I've found it so helpful for my mental health. I don't know about you, but when I've got things running through my mind, it's really hard to get a handle of them when they're going on up there. But when I write them down in front of me, it helps to get things so much clearer. And you don't necessarily need a regular journaling practice to do that. If at any time you're struggling with something in your mind, get it down on paper so it's in front of you. And that will help you get much clearer about what's going on in your mind and perhaps even what you want to do about it. Now, the benefits of quitting certain things aren't just reducing stress or making you feel happier in life. Quitting things can also help to simplify your life. And so if you want to find out some of the things that I quit which have simplified my life, then click on the video that's on the screen. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.